So in today's video blog on Battle of the Internet Giants, I'm going to talk to you about the battle between Apple and the free web. Really topical really right now, could have huge ramifications for us all going forward. So what is the free web? The free web is the internet that we've all grown up with. It's equally accessible by everybody online as consumers, but also as contributors. In theory, any of us can put up a blog post which is equal reach of all the world's internet users. The net neutrality debate, you'll have heard a lot about that last year. Well, I think this is about to kick off again now. The threat to net neutrality is a two-speed internet. So what's happening is big companies are trying to commercialize our internet browsing. And this is, in my view, what's happened very recently with Apple is it's their play to do exactly that. So last month, Apple introduced ad blocking apps via its new operating system. And in my view, this is their opening gambit in a game of chess, in which their end game is that we are paying Apple for consuming internet content. So quickly, let's quickly talk about ad blocker and why it exists. So I think this page here is a brilliant example of both the pros and the cons of ad blocker. So the reasons you might want to block ads is, and you can see here, they're really clunky. It's going to slow down the page load time, and it's going to make you it's going to cost you bandwidth. You're going to hit your monthly bandwidth limits quicker because of the ads that have been displayed. However, this is a brilliant example of free information. I arrived at this piece of content because I went to Google and searched Apple, world's biggest company. That search was free. Google didn't charge me anything to conduct it. I was then guided to this page, which I got to for free. Again, I don't pay the Telegraph any money for this content. And not only could I consume it, but I could share it with you for free. So one of the key principles of the free web is information wants to be free. And I think it's a very healthy thing for society in general for this to be the case. So much so that I had to think about, well, what would the internet look like if there were no more ads? And I went to Alexa and I looked at the world's top 25 websites, and 21 of the world's top 25 websites are totally dependent on advertising revenues for their existence. So if you take away the advertising revenues of our Googles, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube and beyond, they're forced to charge users to consume their content, okay? So I think most people wouldn't have a problem with this. If there's an easy payment mechanism, no one's going to have a problem paying a percentage of a cent to read something. It'll probably mean we consume less content, but the real problem that this creates is it creates a payment problem. So while Google might say to me, okay Alan, it's $10 a year for unlimited searches, I'm happy to pay that once, but it's the websites that I visit infrequently, once a month, or maybe the websites that I haven't visited before but look like they might have something interesting for me. I'm not putting my hand in my pocket and pulling out a credit card to take a risk on their content. So I think it's no coincidence that the same week that Apple introduced ad blocker, which down the road creates this payment problem for websites, the very same week they introduced Apple Pay into the UK, which is precisely that. It's a mechanism for taking micropayments very easily from consumers. Now you might think this is crazy. Am I suggesting, is Alan suggesting that we're all going to start paying for every page we consume, for paying for content that we were getting for free on the internet? Well, this is precisely what Apple did with the music industry. We were all downloading music for free. Apple got in the room with the music execs, set up the iTunes system, and now they take a very large chunk of all our payments for music. So you can bet your bottom dollar that the media industry, the publishing industry is in crisis right now. You can bet your bottom dollar there's Apple execs sitting in their boardrooms right now telling them, we can solve your problems, we can help you monetize your content, people are going to pay for it, we're going to take a cut through Apple Pay. So is this an existential threat to digital marketers like me, maybe like you? I think for the long tail of advertisers, the long tail of media houses, this could be a reality. I think the big media players, your Googles, your Facebooks, your Twitters, your LinkedIn, I think there's a number of reasons why ad blocker isn't going to affect them so much. Number one, they're technologically advanced. They have massive teams of engineering who can just keep putting them ahead of the ad blocking software so the ads come through. Number two, they have massive budgets. They can pay to be whitelisted. In fact, 2 years ago, Google did pay one of the ad blocking software players to be whitelisted. And number three is lobbying power. Last year, in 2014, Google became America's biggest lobbyer, bigger than the oil industry. And this was all around safeguarding net neutrality. So I think Google, Facebook, these guys now have the lobbying power perhaps to enshrine free media as well. So be a little afraid, but don't be very afraid.